What's up guys, Jack here. First, just a quick update. The channel has a new name. For the longest time, my friends have called me Jackington, and I think that's a bit more memorable than what I was using before. And you guys are my tech friends as well, so I figured that I'd use it here on YouTube too. That's youtube.com/@itsjackington and jackington.com, which is where you can find all of the wallpapers in my videos. I'm currently working on a new pack. And then on socials, you'll find me on pretty much all the major social networks. If you were following me before, then you don't have to do anything. I've just changed the name on there, so you'll still be following me. If you're not following me, then now's a good chance to jump on. I'm not the best at social media, but I do like to have like a space where I can chat with you guys and give you updates on the channel. And I'm most active on Instagram and Threads, so find me over there. With that out of the way, today we're going to look at a bunch of Anker accessories that you can only get from Apple. You won't find these on Anker's website or Amazon, at least at time of recording. These are only in the Apple Store or apple.com online. These have been around for a couple of months now, with the exception of this funky MagSafe charger, but have been wanting to check them out for a while. I've pretty much switched over entirely to USB-C now. I'm done with A cables, and these chargers, as you can see, only have C ports. There are still a lot of chargers that still come with like one A port, which is, fine if you are still using like an older cable, but for me, I would rather just keep things simple and just carry one type of cable. So if you're on the same boat as me, stick around and we'll do an unboxing and first impressions. We'll start first with the wall chargers. We've got 3 here to look at, starting with the smallest, and we'll work our way up. We've got the charger on top and a quick start guide as well, but there is no cable included in the box. So this is the smallest and the least powerful charger that we're going to look at today, but it is actually a 50-watt charger with 2 USB-C ports on the back. And just looking at the design here, we've got like a really clean, modern, all-white design. White is the only color that you can get these in, but it does kind of look and feel like, very Apple. It's kind of very apt that these are Apple exclusive. We have simply the Anker logo on the side, 2 ports on the back, and the regulatory info underneath. It actually feels kind of different to normal plastic as well. I don't know if maybe it's recycled or something, but it does actually feel really nice in the hand, and it does have a nice solid build quality. So I'll give it a quick measure. Bearing in mind this is the UK one with the big chunky UK plug. It's about 9 centimeters long, including the prongs. At its widest point, around 5 centimeters, and again, same again, around 5 centimeters tall. Now, just something to note, if you are getting the US version of this, that does have folding prongs. Now, we don't get that here on the UK version, which is a bit of a shame. Same goes for the EU. There's no folding prongs here. So the UK and EU versions are going to be much bigger than the US version. But it is still nice and small and compact. I mean, it's a 50-watt charger that you can keep in your backpack or your tech sling or your tech organizer. So let's give it a quick weigh as well. It comes in at about 110 grams. Now, the Apple website is pretty sparse on information. It doesn't tell us much about this charger, but it is a 50-watt charger in total, and I'm going to assume that we do get a maximum of 50 watts out of one port, but I am going to have to try that because it doesn't actually say. And then I'm assuming that that then gets shared between the 2 ports if you plug 2 things in, so you get around 25 watts between them, but I'll have to check that out. I do have a little USB-C wattage meter here, so that will give us a readout and give us a bit of an idea of how much power we're going to get from it. Now, I've got my iPad Pro just off screen here at about 42%, so we'll plug it in and see what reading that we get. Now, the iPad Pro charges at, I think it's about 40 watts max. So yeah, we're getting around 35 watts here on the reading, going up to 37. It will sort of jump around until it settles. And yeah, I think the iPad Pro charges at 38 watts max. So that is the maximum reading that we're getting from one C port. So I am wondering if we will get 50 watts if we plug something in that is more powerful. So a nice charger if you are looking for one for your iPad, and you do have that second port as well, so you can quite easily charge your iPhone and your iPad Pro at the same time, or maybe your iPhone and your AirPods, or whatever tech that you want. Next up, we have a slightly larger charger. This one is now 70 watts with 3 USB-C ports, so we'll get it unboxed. Again, not much going on here. We just have the charger sitting on top and paperwork underneath, no cable in the box. We have the same design as before, just a slightly bigger one now for the extra power and the extra port. Including the prongs, it comes in at, again, around 9 centimeters by 5, and then by 5 again. So measuring like all the longest points, it's technically the same size as the smaller one. It's just this back portion is much thicker on the 70 watt versus the 50. And it is slightly heavier, coming in at 147 grams. So let's plug in again. And this time we'll plug in 3 things and see what happens. So we'll start with the iPad Pro and an iPhone 16 Pro Max. And then I also have here my AirPods Pro. So now I've got 3 things plugged in. The iPad Pro is drawing 28 watts. So I am wondering if it does have some sort of intelligent distribution here. Maybe it's giving more wattage to that first port because it knows that it's trying to draw more power. So it's sort of prioritizing that port to charge it faster. So this is going to be like a great everyday charger when you need to just charge 3 devices all at once. Then unplugging 2 devices, it's now jumped up to around sort of 36 to 38 watts as it sort of redistributes to that single port. And if it does, have a max output of 70 watts, then that's going to be perfect if you've got a MacBook Air as well. You'll be able to charge that at pretty much full speed and get the maximum charging speed from this charger. Next up, we have the 150 watt charger with 4 USB-C ports. Now this is the biggest charger of the 3 that we're going to look at. Again, not much going on in the box, just some paperwork. And it very much continues that clean, minimalist, elegant look that we had on the other 2, just in a much bigger form factor to accommodate for the extra power and the 4 ports this time. And this one measures in at, again, around 9 centimeters, including the prongs, by 5 centimeters at the widest, and around 8 centimeters at its tallest. And it weighs around 329 grams. Now this charger is a little bit different to the others. It has a maximum total output of 150 watts across all 4 ports combined, but a maximum single port output of 140 watts from the C1 port up top. So that is going to be perfect if you have a MacBook Pro. Those max out at 140 watts, so this charger will charge a MacBook Pro at full speed. And if you bought one of those, then in the box that would have came with Apple's own 140 watt charger. And we can see here just the size difference. So these both have a maximum single port output of 140 watts, but we only get a single C port on the Apple charger. So yeah, if you are wanting to downsize your Apple charger a little bit, then the Anker one is a good alternative here, and you get an extra 3 ports to charge all of your other tech at the same time as well. It does feel heavier. It feels actually more sort of like dense and compact than the Apple charger, but I think that's a worthwhile trade-off to get all of those extra ports. Again, we'll plug a bunch of things in. We'll start with the iPad, the iPhone, AirPods Pro, and this is the Insta360 X5. It is a 360 camera that I actually took on a recent trip. I'm going to make a video on this soon, so get subscribed if you want to see that. This is a really fun piece of tech, and we'll plug that in as well. Yes, it is a bit of a cable catastrophe here with all these cables everywhere. But yeah, you can see even with all these things plugged in, it's having no problem charging the iPad Pro at pretty much full speed at around 36 to 38 watts. Now, if I'd timed this video better, then I would have plugged my MacBook in as well, but it's actually already fully charged, so we're not going to learn much if I do plug it in anyway. So just to line them all up together, we have the 50 watt, the 70 watt, and the big boy, the 150 watt. These two are going to be better for, those smaller carries. They're a lot more compact, but if you are carrying a big hefty MacBook Pro and you need that extra power, then, the 150 watt is still pretty small overall, and it is a really nice design, a really nice alternative to Apple's own charger. And price-wise, these come in at $50, $80, and £100 or dollars. But these 3 aren't the only in the collection. They also have a 30 watt version that comes in at £40 or dollars. And that does come with a 1.5 meter cable in the box. But personally, I just think that you are better off paying that extra 10 quid and getting, the extra 20 watts of power and the extra C port on the back. I just think having 2 C ports is way more valuable than having 1. And then at the other end of the scale, they have a beastie 240 watt charger that also has 4 ports, and that is for charging 2 MacBook Pros at the same time. It is kind of more like a desktop hub charger with a stand which can be removed as well if needed. And if you want to see both of those as well, then let me know and I can check them out. But these are the 3 that are the most appropriate for me at the moment. So these are the 3 that I bought, but yeah, I can check the others out as well if you'd like to see them. But now we do also have to look at the MagSafe charger as well. So this is the Anker MagGo wireless charger stand with spotlight. And someone actually commented on a recent video asking to see this, and I'd never heard of it before. So thank you, commenter, for bringing it to my attention. Let's get it unboxed. So we have the MagGo wireless charger. Actually kind of looks like a spotlight. That is kind of a funky design. And in here we have some paperwork and a 1.5 meter USB-C cable. And okay, that's pretty cool. We have some adapters and a charger as well. So this is a 25 watt charger that we've got included, and it has the folding US style prongs, but I actually love it when companies do this because they also include these adapters that you get in the box. So you can just slide one of these on, and now you've got a UK plug, and that is pretty much the size that a UK plug would be anyway. And if you're going traveling, you can use the EU adapter as well. So that's just a nice little addition. If you want to use this as a travel adapter, you have that option as well. But it does just have a single C port on the back to use with the wireless charger. So just a quick look around, we have a nice padded base. So it's going to be nice and stable on the desk. It's not going to be slipping and sliding around. On the back, we have a USB-C port for plugging it in. And then up top, we have a 15 watt wireless Qi charger for any MagSafe iPhone. So we'll plug it in. Now, as this is Qi 2, we will get that fancy MagSafe charging animation pop up. And this is on a hinge, so we do actually have some movement, so you can tilt this towards yourself if you want to see the phone better. Or if you want to keep it upright, you can of course also charge your AirPods on top as well. And because we have that tilt, we can also put the iPhone in landscape. It will also go into standby mode as well. So you can use your iPhone as like a little hub with all these widgets that you can swipe between. But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty standard charger in that sense. It is, just pop your iPhone on top and give it a charge. But this has some LEDs built into the base. Now, if we look down here, we have a few touch controls. I don't know how well you can see that, so we can press and hold here to turn on the LED and get a nice glow on the base. Then over on the other side where the port is, we also have a control to change the color temperature. So we can press and hold and we can make the light a much warmer hue here. And I don't know how well you can actually see this light because I do have some bright lights on when I'm filming, but now that has gone to a much warmer color. And you can sort of press and hold to change the light as you want. If you want a warmer look or you want a cooler look, you can change that as you wish. Now, I don't know how useful that's going to be for some people, but I mean, it is it's different, I guess. It adds a nice sort of like a vibe, a nice ambience to your desk. And I will give it a quick measure just to let you guys know the size. It is around 9 centimeters tall by around 8 centimeters by 8 centimeters on the base. And it weighs in at 225 grams. I mean, I'd say it's a bit big to use as a travel charger, but I know that some people always like to know the weight of things as well, so there you go. I will say it does feel kind of tall for what it is. I mean, it is just a wireless charger with some LEDs, so I don't know quite why it's this tall. I wonder how much is actually in here. And this comes in at £60 or dollars. So that's been a look at these Apple exclusive Anker chargers that you'll only find at the Apple Store. I will link to them down in the description. I love the clean look of them. They are sort of very Apple inspired, as is the pricing. They are on like slightly the high side, but I mean, I am really impressed with the overall build quality, at least on first impression. Anker's gear has always served me well, and you've got a nice sort of range of charger sizes and wattages to choose from. Leave a like if this video helped you out. Let me know what you think of these chargers down in the comments. If you want to see more tech videos from me, then you can subscribe and hit the bell. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.